Alright folks, now why the hell am I doing a video on this vehicle when it was never tested on the super test? Because there's nothing to test, there's no recap, it's a stock Jagdtiger from Tier 9 as a premium Tier 8. That's practically it. That's it. That's nothing to it. So this vehicle did debut on the Asian server in their last year's Autumn Golden Armory boxes. You could get the TL7, the 𝗛𝗆𝗍𝗍, or the Jagdtiger Prototype. But what's also funny is it uses the same visual model from the Tier 9. It has no difference in the visual model. It's the same visual model. Collision model is also practically the same. So I have a skin for the Tier 9. It is being shared on the Tier 8. So you could say a few vehicles could look the same, but they don't share the same visual model. For example, the 𝗣𝗿𝗀𝗍𝗶𝗴𝗲𝗿 has about the same visual model as collision model with the Panzerkampfwagen Mark 7. So take a good look, but I have a skin for the Tech Tree version with the Duncan Globe with the yellow paint. So if it's shared, the visual model is shared, then this skin would apply to the 𝗣𝗿𝗀𝗍𝗶𝗴𝗲𝗿, but it's not. So laziness on the Jagdtiger Prototype. It's not shared. So it's a different model technically, even though collision model might be the same, but that's a whole different can of worms. The same thing applies to the KV-122 and how much I hate this vehicle compared to the original KV-1S. It's a different visual model, so there's a slight difference, slightly, with the D25T. But this vehicle, laziness, it's the same as the Jagdtiger in Tier 9, where I have a skin for it. So I'll show you the laziness of it. It's the same visual vehicle. It's the same. I mean, granted, the gun is shorter, but it's a stock gun of the 128. I mean, I have a different skin for the Jagdtiger 88, so tell me otherwise, right? Alright, let's break down this vehicle quickly. Already spent like 3 minutes talking about the actual skin. Crew of 6, premium tank. It's a Jagdtiger stock, practically. The same gun that's on the Ferdinand, the L55, compared to the L66. But it has less DPM than the Tier 8 version on the Ferdinand on the Jagdpanther II. Crew of 6 fits all the high tier assault tank destroyers. But firepower wise, yeah, about the same accuracy aim time as the Ferdinand or the Jagdpanther II, just less DPM. A little bit better gun depression than the Jagdpanther II, but not as good as the Ferdinand, and takes a little bit longer to load. Alright. So you can see with the comparison, but gun loading time is 12.5-ish seconds compared to 11.2. So DPM is obviously less by almost 300. So it doesn't compare to the 88mm, obviously, on the Jagdtiger 88. But yeah, the same aim time, the same accuracy, practically. So that's nice. Gun depression is a little bit better than the Jagdtiger or Jagdpanther II. And same traverse speed. Gun traverse speed is moving the gun about in the socket, but the armor should be the same. Segue. It should be the same armor with the 250 superstructure and about 100. Actually, it's 80 for the hull front. What? It's not 80 on the hull front. It's about 150 or so. 150. Who the hell are you lying to? 80 at the hull front. You scared the crap out of me. Lower plate. Where the hell's the 80 that you're getting? It's 150 for the hull front. That's a typo? Or whatever. So it's about 200mm effective. Very good superstructure. So better than the Ferdinand's 200mm. But side armor is only 80. So don't even trust side scraping. You shouldn't, but trust the superstructure and go hull down. Rear is 40 for the engine deck. 80 for the actual ass armor. But yeah, superstructure is good. It's a very good armor. I mean, it's Tier 9 technically, but you could put the Jagdpanther or Jagdpanther II with the 250 as well as the Jagdtiger with the 250 as Tier 8 very good assault tank destroyers. So theoretically, it should not be a Tier 9. Theoretically, but mobility wise, it's heavier. It weighs more than the actual Jagdtiger 88, mostly because of the gun, and therefore horsepower per ton ratio is lower. So top speed is only 38, the same. We already covered the reverse speed is somehow slower than the actual Jagdtiger 88, and a lot slower traverse for some reason. For some reason, that's odd. It's the same chassis. I mean, theoretically, yes, it weighs more, but you're using the same horsepower, and the gun shouldn't weigh that much, right? So reverse speed should not be a 4 km/h difference, as well as 12.5 degrees per second difference with the Jagdtiger 88. Alright, I mean, camo-wise, the same camo, view range 20 meter less, even though it has the same commander periscopes for some reason. So about the same view range as a Ferdinand, a little bit better than the Jagdpanther II, or the Scorpion Gs, or kind of non Jagdpanzers. Yeah, it's okay. I mean, this has preferential matchmaking, so probably that's why. Also, it's archaic design, so originally all the tank destroyers have a lot of view range back then, but did not get nerfed. Alright, so this vehicle, I mean, on paper it seems okay, but it's so lazy. Let's compare this with the Ferdinand. So better terrain resistance, not as good horsepower per ton ratio, but better top speed. I mean, dispersion is about the same, with the same accuracy, same aim time, just less DPM by almost 300. Same view range. Gun traverse arc is a little bit worse by 5 degrees, but it's better than the Jagdpanther II. Jagdpanther II has like 6 degrees. Is it 6 degrees or it's the same? I thought it was 6. Alright, so it's a little bit better, but carry a little bit more ammo. That's nice. It is a premium with a little bit. Wow, the Jagdpanther II has no health. I mean, the Ferdinand gets 1500, right? Yeah, 1500. So Jagdpanther II doesn't really have that much health. It's okay, but it gets a 0 on the on the effort. It gets about I say 5.5. It's okay. It's a stock Jagdtiger, maybe a 6 out of 10 if we're not judging based on the effort put into this vehicle. But since we are, it's like a 1 out of 10 in terms of effort put into this thing. So similar to the Ferdinand, similar to the Jagdpanther, you want to have obviously a rammer with this thing. Where the hell is my Ferdinand? And Ferdinand, I cater this thing towards more being aggressive. So I put optics and vents. Whereas the Jagdpanther II, I have that vehicle as more of a sniper with binoculars. So these are closed top. You could put turbocharger on these, but I would prefer vents. You're not going anywhere fast enough in the Ferdinand anyways, so might as well camp a corner and hold down that corner. But field modification is the same. Actually, this is versatile. It should be assault, right? That's interesting. It's the same category as the Jagdpanther II, even though it doesn't matter at Tier 8. It really doesn't matter at Tier 8. Only Tier 9 and Tier 10 is slight difference at the higher end of field modification. So what you want is obviously better terrain resistance, better effective hull traverse, not base hull traverse, accuracy or aim time. Now granted, 2.2 seconds for the 128 is good enough, so I would say better accuracy. Better accuracy. And finally, camo after firing or view range. Obviously view range. This one's stupid. This is only for E25 or something, but rarely used. Very rarely used. So no original rating because I never covered this vehicle because it's a copy of a stock Jagdtiger. So effort wise, yeah, it's so lazy. It's like my original gripe with the KV-122. It's a copy of the original KV-1S. Now they did change the skin, but yeah, there's no recap of all this crap. So yeah, don't even. So without the bias, without the effort, judgment put into this thing, I would say maybe a 6 out of 10. I mean, is it better than the Jagdtiger 88? Now granted, this thing has preferential matchmaking, but it will still see tier 9s. They did buff the penetration and DPM on this thing. It has crazy DPM, so it plays like a AT-15 or something, but you still get pinned in your hull, practically. And it is not as fast as you would like it, but I will say 5.5 or 6 out of 10 without the bias. With the bias, it's like a 2 or 1 out of 10. So there you go, folks. Jagdtiger Prototype. I will cover the upcoming Tier 8 Nemesis as well as the Tier 5s for holiday ops, practically coming soon. So there you go, folks. We covered the Hyperion stuff for the Waffentrigger, but it's not special. This thing is not special. I mean, we got the Chieftain Prototype as the main reward for last year, with the runner-up being the KV4 KTTS. I mean, this thing has a personality. Granted, it's not great. By all means, it's not great, but hell, it's a lot different than a KV4. Obviously, it has personality to it. It has uniqueness. Whereas the Jagdtiger Prototype, it's a copy with the same visual model. It's using the shared visual model. Okay, enough of that. So as always, thank you guys for watching this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.
沈むように溶けてゆくように二人